In 1995, businessman, political megadonor, and diplomat Mel Sembler and his wife, Betty, founded Drug Free America Foundation, a charity that is, quote, committed to developing strategies that prevent drug use and promote sustained recovery. While this may sound like an admirable goal for an organization, the history regarding the charity, the policies that it advocates for, as well as, one might say, the propaganda that it pushes, tells a story that is not so pure. This is why Drug Free America Foundation is a scam. I first discovered this charity while scrolling through my Instagram stories when I stumbled across a classmate who was asking for people to respond to their survey they had created for a psychology class regarding drug use. I took the survey, and towards the end, they included this video from the foundation. It's a 2-minute long video, the one that automatically pops up if you visit the organization's website, that essentially lays out the mission of Drug Free America, to reduce drug use, but also to discourage incarceration for drug users in exchange for rehabilitation in order to truly break the cycle of addiction. My initial thoughts after seeing this video were generally positive. After all, at face value, this is a message that not just us on the left, but also those on the libertarian right can get behind. However, as I proceeded to do more research into the foundation, what I discovered they advocated for, or perhaps did not advocate for, seemed to directly contradict this message. But more on that later. For now, let's take a brief look at the history behind Drug Free America. In 1976, the Semblers founded Straight Incorporated, which had local chapters across many states and was designed as a space for users to recount their drug use experiences in front of other supposed drug abusers, and to undergo rehabilitation for their addictions. The organization gained recognition by First Lady Nancy Reagan's frequent appearances at events. However, Straight Incorporated's practices towards its participants was questionable at best, as YouTuber Overw states while recounting his experience as a participant at an Atlanta meeting for the organization.
This video that you're seeing is what I would call propaganda to make you think this program was something really good, when in actuality it was just the opposite. There are people in this video that I personally saw get thrown down on the floor in a 5-point restraint for something like just trying to keep somebody from putting their hand on them. Somebody who would lean back in their chair would soon find a hand or a fist running down their spine, and it would hurt, and that's what you would have to do to make somebody sit up from the back of their chair. You couldn't lean on the back of the chair, which was just one of a myriad of stupid little rules they had to psychologically entrap you and keep you in a state of paranoia that you've done something wrong and you're going to get set back in your program, so to speak, using the jargon of the mind control program they were using.
This is not the only video he's made on the subject of Straight Incorporated, and I encourage you to check out more of his videos on the program. He reveals some pretty eye-popping facts, such as participants lying about their experiences, and many of them never even being convicted of a drug-related crime. After numerous lawsuits regarding mistreatment of its clients, including one in which the organization was forced to pay over $700,000 to one of its victims as a result of her being, quote, battered and kept at the facility against her will, Straight Incorporated was shut down in 1993, and 2 years later, Mel Sembler and his wife founded Drug Free America Foundation. Distinct from Straight, Drug Free America does not run rehabilitation camps. Instead, it seeks to educate the public about the dangers of drug use through public service announcements and such. However, this does not mean that Drug Free America's message is not harmful and not ineffective at decreasing drug use or incarceration for such, because it most certainly is. Despite claiming to support alternatives to incarceration for drug users, they do not support the legalization or even the decriminalization of marijuana. In a 2018 30-second ad released by the organization, a mother recounts her experience in losing her son due to opioid abuse.
Corey had first tried pot in middle school. It definitely turned into opioid addiction. In 2011, I lost my son to drugs. Marijuana? Know the truth.
While what this mother went through is horrific, and nobody should ever lose a loved one due to addiction, That does not excuse the blatant propaganda on the part of the foundation to paint marijuana as a gateway drug. This statement is directly contradicted by scientific studies on the impacts of legalized recreational and medical marijuana. According to a 2019 economic inquiry study, legal recreational pot would reduce opioid-related deaths by 20 to 35% annually. Furthermore, UC Davis and Yale researchers have determined that deaths due to opioid overdoses are significantly lower in areas with medical and recreational marijuana dispensaries. Even back in 2009, Drug Free America released a video with former House Speaker Newt Gingrich in which he explains his opposition to a campaign in Florida to legalize marijuana.
Every place where drugs become legalized, the net effect is more people on welfare, more people who are dependent, more people with bad health outcomes, fewer people who are able workers who can pay attention on the job, and a drain of money into illegality, because immediately behind legalized marijuana comes cocaine and heroin, and the very people who were busy selling marijuana branch into even more aggressive sale of the harder illegal drugs. So I think it is a big net economic loss and a job-killing idea.
A big economic loss and a job-killing idea, he says, when in reality, the new medical marijuana industry in Florida has created almost 15,000 jobs in the state. What happened, Newt? I thought your party was the party of job creation. Anyway, putting aside the charity's dishonest fear-mongering about an increase in opioid usage if marijuana is legalized, advocating against legalization and decriminalization also directly contradicts the organization's support for decarceration. In 2019, over 15% of all arrests in the U.S. were drug-related arrests. In addition, nearly 9 out of every 10 of these drug arrests were merely for the possession of an illegal substance. In fact, I did my own research on the relationship between marijuana legalization or decriminalization by state and that state's incarceration rate, and I determined that the mean and median incarceration rates as of 2019 were 46 and 43% higher, respectively, in states where recreational marijuana was neither legal nor decriminalized. Indeed, the Portugal model, in which Portugal decriminalized all drugs in order to get users the help they need and to not lock them up, has proven to be a great success. Quote, heroin and cocaine use, two of the country's most worrying instances of substance abuse, went from 1% to 0.3%. HIV infections among drug users was reduced by 50%. In the general population, HIV rate fell from 104 cases per million in 1999 to 4.2 in 2015. Drug-related incarceration also fell from 75 to 45%. In the end, despite the seemingly appealing message of drug-free America, it is an organization that is dedicated to preserving the status quo and does not seek to adequately address the opioid crisis. It advocates for keeping the archaic, outdated drug laws of the U.S. intact, despite the overwhelming evidence that shows how ineffective and dangerous they are. And they feed propaganda to the public in order to push this message, thanks to the amount of wealth concentrated in the hands of their founders. Drug Free America Foundation is a scam, and those who are genuinely passionate about decarceration and alleviating the impacts of the opioid epidemic should not give a dime of their time or money to them.